Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Town Manager Joe Waltz. Joe is a former town manager and now our current town manager. The clouds opened and the blessings came down, and we're so glad you're back, Joe. So tell us, what do you think?
I'm really glad to be back. You know, I was gone for 3 years, and last year we decided to come back to Virginia. So I got back to Virginia in October.
Yeah.
And I came into town hall in early October and didn't even realize that council was still seeking a town manager's position. So
you said, really?
Yeah, really. So yeah, so I expressed some interest, and here we are today.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more excited.
Well, you know, one thing about being a former town manager, you kind of at least know where Main Street is. Right. And I think, you know, you ran the electric department for how many years? It was quite a few.
Yeah, 13 years.
Wow, is it that long? So you really know where all the skeletons are buried.
Yeah, I'm invested in this community.
Yeah, I think
even
so.
when I left, we kept our house here because we had full intentions of coming back to Virginia. So it's worked out really well, and I couldn't ask for a better opportunity to serve our citizens right now.
You know, we're in the middle of this comp plan. I don't know if we're still in the middle because it's been going on for a while. And I haven't heard whether they've signed off on it or not. But
actually, the comp plan has been really interesting developing in the last couple of months, particularly with the MVR home development on Shenandoah Shores Road.
Right.
We've got so much involvement with the community in the comprehensive plan. It's been really enlightening.
Yeah.
And right now, it's at the Planning Commission. They were looking at some additional VDOT comments, but I'm hoping that will be in front of council in April.
Right. If we can just keep people focused on the plan, you know, and they've been working with the county as well, trying to kind of blend them together so that we're all kind of on the same page.
Yeah, one of the things that I've noticed since I've been back is the desire to work well with the county and work together instead of against. So I'm really encouraged by that.
I keep reminding people, you know, we're in the county. I mean, people think of us more like a city, you know, but we're just a town, and we're kind of like a sanitary district, you know, in a way. We're just an overlay district in the county, you know.
Very true. We are, as town citizens, we're also county residents as well. Yeah.
Probably you back the 13 years ago or so, it's been quite a while in that time frame. We were working with the county, and we realized that we have a lot of services that were just duplicated.
Right.
And we released, you know, like our Parks and Recs went back to the county because it functions with everyone. And I think that's what people don't realize. The town is really only about doing what services the town.
Very true. We are more of a service organization.
Organization. So what's on the plan as a town manager? What's your goal here? And you got a short-term goal and a long-term goal?
Yeah, actually I do. You know, my first 30 days back, I kind of developed a focus for me for 2023. And the focus is serving our citizens. And we're focused in 3 areas. I'm focused on safety first and foremost. I think safety is paramount. Mm-hmm. Now I'm focused on employees. I mean, our employees are our most valuable asset. And one of the things that we are having trouble with right now is open positions. We're probably anywhere from 15 to 20% of openings in the town. And so we're in the middle of a compensation study. We're looking at employee engagement, employee appreciation. And then the third part that I'm working on short term is technology. We try to work smarter, and so I'm currently looking for an IT director to fill that slot so that we can, you know, introduce more technology into our services. So that's my focus for this year internally for operations is safety, employees, and technology.
Well, that's great. That's like every business.
Exactly, right. It is a business. And
every business has those exactly same 3 things that they need to be taken care of. You know, it's great. And that's the thing, you know, we look at it, but I do know we have some really good people on staff. And since you mentioned the planning, or since I mentioned the planning, give Laura a really plug. I think she just worked really hard on that. She's really dedicated to her job, and she's done a great job, her and others, working on that comprehensive plan. I just like to see people, you know, get on board with it and just really realize all the little ins and outs. It's pretty intricate, you know, all the things that are going on. But it's hard, though, to fix something that's been done for the last 50 years and try to refocus the direction.
Yeah, I think that the comprehensive plan is what it is a plan. And anything you do, you need a plan before you start.
Before you start, yeah. You mentioned the housing project out there on Shenandoah Shores Road. people don't, I don't think, realize that behind our industrial park there off Shenandoah Shores Road, there is a lot of plotted land that's already got, allocated for our water and sewer and everything other than just this one. I mean, I recall, like 1,500 homes could be built out there.
Oh, yeah, there is a lot of room for development out there, not just where MVR is, but the Front Row Limited Partnership. A lot of these subdivision plans have been on the books for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and that's where my focus is right now is economic development. We got to bring jobs to this community. We can build houses all day long, but if we don't have jobs here. So that's one of our focus points moving forward.
It's kind of a catch-22 in a way, because when a larger business is looking to come to a new community, they look, is there a workforce?
Right.
Well, and we can't have a workforce unless you have a place for them to live. And you can't build them a place to live unless they got a job. So it's kind of like, you got to, work that out. It's a really crazy, but we're ready to go. It wouldn't take long to somebody actually decided to do something. In a year's time, we'd have a lot of homes built out there.
I agree.
Yeah, it's great. But, I always thought it's really strange. We have the 2 interstates, we got the rivers, we got the, all the infrastructure, railroad and everything, but everything goes to Winchester. I'm thinking, it just seems like.
Right, yeah.
And that's like we're getting bypassed along the way. I mean.
That's why we got to bring jobs to the community instead of having to commute.
Yeah, I think so. It's amazing. Well, I'm sitting out there doing something. I'm watching the traffic come in 522 from Winchester, and the traffic's coming into town. Then you go on the 50 going out, and they're going out of town. So it's like, I go downtown. Now you can. Oh yeah, I live in Winchester. But they work in Front Royal, and people here they're driving down the Manassas and things, and it's just it's a crazy thing. And I think part of this thing we look at too. Let me just ramble on here. But when you mentioned commuting, I mean, it's just to drive to Manassas. The IRS allows 50-some cents a mile, so you figure that out. That's $1,000 a month to drive just to Manassas, and $12,000 a year. You can take a pretty good sized pay cut to work in Front Royal but no one puts value on their car, or their time.
That's right. Currently recruiting for an IT director, I interviewed quite a few local residents who were just not, getting tired of the commute.
Right.
So, that is what we want to try to provide an opportunity for other citizens to be able to work here and play.
It's amazing the amount of people we have here in town that could probably fill a lot of these jobs, that they're either doing it or have, coming close to their retirement, might just want to, work for 5 years or 10 years.
Exactly.
And again, you're not, the technology changes so fast that you almost can't hire somebody for 30 years anymore. You know what I mean?
That's true. Nobody stays for 30.
They're burned out.
Yeah.
So what's on the plan for coming up later on? I mean, we're getting ready to have an election.
Right.
And hopefully we'll have I don't think the town council, the council, they just got kind of new council. You're working with a totally brand new town council.
Yeah, and that's real refreshing, because they come to the meetings prepared. They come asking a lot of questions. So I'm real excited about the posture of this council and what they want to do. And we are setting up to do a council retreat in March so that we can get a vision together and start charging forward. And I think 2023 is going to be a good year for us.
If you've ever watched Joe at a meeting, cameras, especially the ones that they broadcast there, the camera's over his head. So just watch his he's left-handed. So just watch his left hand. He has this journal, and he said, "You're still doing that, right?"
Yeah, I still write
everything is journaled, and he writes everything down, and that's always a good sign. I told that to one of the new council. I said, "Watch him. I noticed he writes everything down." I said, he will follow up and get stuff done. I mean, nothing worse. What that little thing they say about writing it down, it's, I can't remember.
Yeah, but I'm old school. I got to write it down to get it in memory.
I'm not going to get it in my brain if I don't write it down. Yeah, that's the way I am too. Carries 2 cell phones with you. My gosh, you're an important man.
I don't know about that. Keeping work and personal life separate.
That's hard to do.
That is hard to do.
It's definitely hard to do. So what else you got planned? What do you think? I mean, Lizzie Lewis is doing these events. That's something new that, again, is part of the coordination of tourism and things like that.
Yeah, Lizzie's doing a great job. I mean, I heard so many good things about last year's events, such as the Festival of Leaves, the Christmas Parade. And I think the fireworks show last year was great, and so we plan to continue that this year.
Yeah,
and Lizzie is right on top of all.
That was a vision that the town council at least comes up with. I think that's great, is to get the community, keep that charm of our small town together and getting community activity. And And again, the town has to support these things in order for them to really work. No one organization can do it by themselves any longer. It just takes a little grease on the wheel, so to speak.
I agree. We're all in this together. We bring events to town so that we can bring people in and revenue in. So, it's working out really well.
Because you never know, that person that comes to be an event might be some big CEO of some company said, I don't think I'll bring my business to Front Royal. We got a place to build it. We got a lot of land. We got economic development. And
it's I really do consider Front Royal a hidden gem. A lot of people just drive by and don't realize what's really here.
Our best advertisement is that sign they have down there at 495, right? It says Front Royal. You know? And I don't know, millions of people see that thing. And
I agree.
I heard rumors that you were really pro this economic development and trying to get the EDA teeth back into doing something. What's your vision on this economic development? I know everybody wants jobs, but what do you think?
Everybody wants jobs, and I think what we're going to do is take a look at what FREDA is right now. FREDA stopped meeting after July, so I'm trying to find out where we left off, how we get it running again. I do believe that we just can't stay idle. And so my charge for the next 30, 60 days is figure out what we can do and move FREDA forward. Because I believe that, every moment that we waste is a lost opportunity for town Front Royal. So, we're heavy on that. It's my focus for the next 30, 60 days.
Yeah, because people, economic development, it's a broad term, and it can mean a lot of things. And like you said, it involves, the housing, the workforce, the new businesses. And but, I've seen there's construction going on during things. And I see it going out on 522, a lot of big buildings and small buildings and things are going on. And, our problem with town is we have very few locations that you can do anything of any size, But, hey, we are the heart and soul of Warren County. So,
that's right. So we, as our economic development focus should be in the corporate limits. We do have quite a bit of land available. We need to market what we have available, such as out on Main Street. And there's a lot of good things happening here. We
let's
just
keep the business. Let's keep the ones we have here. I tell you, it's more than just being open. It's more thriving, not just surviving. And I think that's, and sometimes you need the government, to give you a helping hand. Not doing it for us. We don't want them doing it for us. We want to keep government out of our business. But sometimes, you can grease the wheel a little bit.
That's true.
Make things flow just a little easier. I've always said, over the years that we're not as business friendly as we think we are. Because the people in power aren't ever the ones that use it.
Right. Okay.
So keep that in mind.
I'll keep that in mind.
You should go through the process one time. Just say, I want to build a fence. I want to build something, and kind of go through the process to see where the bottlenecks are. And but you'd have to be incognito because they would treat you different.
Right, and it's interesting that every process is a little different.
It is.
It's when you read the code and what it applies to, I tell you, there's a little bit of an art to it.
There is a little finesse that you have to do to make. But I always said, instead of telling us no, just say, well, let's look at it and see how we can make it a yes.
Right.
And I think that's really that's how government helps you. And sometimes no is a good answer, but other times it says, maybe no isn't the correct answer, but if we can't do it this way, but how about this suggestion? A lot of times, they're busy. Now you can't do it.
Right. Continue the conversation on a solution.
So that's a goal for you. We want you to get out there and empower your employees. I always throw out the new words. Joe, it's just, there's a lot of things we could talk about, but we want to wait till you get your feet wet. And we'll get in here with you and the mayor. Maybe that'll be good. And she was in earlier in January. It's great. She brought Josh. And that's what I wanted to get her in here about every 4 or 6 weeks and bring one of the councilmen or women with them. And, just to see what's going on, let us know what's happening. I think it's important to keep the public aware.
Yeah, I can, Mike, I would offer up, I could bring one of my staff members. We could keep a focal point on something such as comp plan, or we just started mobilizing for the redundant water line out in the corridor. And so, we've got a lot of stuff just starting here.
We've done some things. All of a sudden, Mark and I were out. We seen something going on. We just stopped there with the camera and say, "Get Robbie down here. Tell us what's going on." And one was right out in front of our office, and hundreds of people watched those things and didn't realize that the town staff did all that work and put that road in and turned the turn lane and. Put the curb. They did everything, and quick.
And one of the things we did this just the last 2 months is we took council out on tours of the facilities. And one thing I enjoyed about those tours and taking council members around was our staff and how energetic and enthusiasm they were about
Sure.
their job, it just really warmed my heart on
Yeah.
how much they really care about what they do.
Yeah, yeah. But you were in charge of the electric department, but people don't really realize how that works in our town. How do we distribute it, and how do we get it here, and how there's a lot involved.
Right.
It's our water and sewer.
Water
From
and sewer.
getting our water out of the river. Where does it go? How does it get there? How does it get over here? I always tell people, when you flush that commode, where does that go? To give you something, I was down at this plant. One of your people had retired last year or so, and I said, boy, I don't smell anything down here.
Oh, right.
And he says, if you smell it, there's something wrong. I said, never thought of that. I just thought it would always smell. No, it was.
Yeah, what's interesting part about our water is where we pull the water out, we put it back in the river 2 miles down.
Yeah.
So we all live downstream in some
Exactly.
aspect.
We're getting that stuff from Luray.
Yeah.
We want to that's the one you want to inspect. Forget from But it's true. I mean, they always. Is it true that you can drink that water going out of the sewer plant?
That's what they say. Yeah.
We haven't done it yet.
I haven't done it, but yeah, it is definitely drinkable.
Yeah,
So,
it's amazing. We just don't realize it. How are we doing on our I&I problem? I mean, we've had that for so long.
We're actually starting to see the end of that. I really do believe. The town has been investing heavily in the I&I inflow and filtration,
Right.
and we are seeing the numbers come down. And so basically what that means is what we are doing currently will produce, let's say, 2 million a gallon a day, and our wastewater treatment will be treating double that amount.
Exactly.
And so we're seeing those numbers come down dramatically. And hopefully we will be off the consent order, hopefully in the next year and a half from DEQ because of the investment that the town has made.
Yeah, because that water has to go somewhere, and it
water
goes
has
right,
to-
flushes right on through the sewer plant, and then it pushes sewage out into the river.
Right. And the biggest thing is the cost of treating water that we shouldn't have to treat. So
Right.
that's a money-saving measure as well.
I didn't realize how much water just flows into the sewer lines that doesn't belong there,
Right.
out of our gutters and pipes that leak and things like that. It's just amazing how many millions of gallons that is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We did that test like a year or so ago. All of a sudden, we had smoke coming up out of the
Oh,
ground.
okay,
Remember the
yeah, smoke
test?
testing, yeah.
And the smoke was coming up out of the ground and everything. I said, that's not good.
That's not good. That tells us where we have illegal connections.
It's good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things like that, and I know they've lined pipes, they've done all sorts of things. So it's just a process, and we don't realize that most of our infrastructure is underground, right?
Yeah, very true. Very true. Except for a few electrical lines, you're right.
Yeah,
Most of it's
yeah.
underground.
That's it. Well, Joe, again, thanks for listening to me.
Hey, no, I really enjoyed it, Mike. I appreciate it.
And you come back maybe in a couple months, and we'll
Sure.
talk about it again. And like say, bring Robbie or somebody, one of the departments, and
Yeah.
we can talk about some projects. We got paving projects. It'll be springtime.
Yeah, you're
we'll
right.
start that again. And you did a pretty good job this last year. The town paved quite a few residential places, and
I do believe looking at last year's plan was aggressive, and I suspect that'll be the same plan this year.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Mike.